Hey guys, what's going on? Laying back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about The Curse of Bridge Hollow. The Curse of Bridge Hollow is an American fantasy comedy that tells the story of Sydney, a teenage girl who moves from the city of Brooklyn to the suburban neighborhood of Bridge Hollow for her father's job. Trying to make the best of her situation, she gets into the spirit of Halloween and discovers a mysterious artifact while doing so. She and her father inadvertently unleash the ancient spirit of Stingy Jack from the artifact while preparing to go out for Halloween. The spirit wreaks havoc on the town by making Halloween decorations come to life, and so Sydney and her father must put their differences aside to save the neighborhood. I had a pretty good idea of what this movie was going to be like after seeing the trailer, and the movie is more or less what I expected. It's an average Halloween comedy that's neither all that good or bad. There are many issues with it, but its creativity and essence as a Halloween movie is stellar enough to make them tolerable. The main character, Sydney, is a typical fish out of water that's supposed to struggle with adapting to her new life away from Brooklyn, but to be honest, I didn't really see it, as most of the conflict on her part relates to her dad. Outside of this, she has an easy time adjusting to her new life, being quick to make friends, and taking initiative to go out for Halloween. She is sympathetic in a general sense as far as her being forced to participate in hobbies that she's not passionate about, but this area is never fully explored, which is weird because all of this is pinned on her dad, yet her mother's role in this regard is never expanded upon. For the type of movie this is though, I think her character is okay. I recognized her actress from the show Stranger Things, and it's great to see her bring a similar sassiness to this movie like she did in that show. If one just accepts her role at face value as someone to help move a light and breezy story forward, then it's a lot more tolerable. The other main character is Sydney's dad, who's played by Marlon Wayans. He's a lot more interesting in comparison to her, both in terms of the energy he brings to the story and his sense of humor. But as with her, he still ended up being kind of a mixed bag. Whether or not you'll be a fan of his character will likely depend on how much you enjoy Wayans' style of comedy. On one hand, it's pretty funny to see him play up his teacher persona with how often he drops a scientific explanation for almost everything that happens, and how his cowardice contrasts his daughter's bravery. But on the other hand, the sciencey stuff starts getting old after a while, and Wayans relies on a lot of weird gestures, noises, and other lowbrow slapstick humor to get some laughs. It isn't completely terrible, and he did have some funny lines here and there, but he did get a bit grating at times. The father-daughter relationship in this movie is fine for the most part. They're not exactly original in terms of being polar opposites with pretty much anything and everything, but they have good chemistry and it's fun to see them run about town while exchanging amusing banter. The only real complaint I have about them is the ongoing science drama, with how the dad wants her to be more involved in science while she wants to move away from it. The two tended to have arguments and discussions about this at inappropriate times, which in turn distracted the pacing of the story. At the end of the day, this movie isn't going to be anything more than what it is, which is a fun-filled Halloween movie, and it does live up to this promise. I was actually taken aback at how deep the movie went into celebrating Halloween. There's a lot of creative and amazing Halloween decor spread throughout the movie. It's never just ordinary props of zombies, skeletons, or clowns. There's always something extra tagged onto them, like the zombies being attributed to The Walking Dead, the skeletons wearing football uniforms, and the clowns being demented axe murderers. The atmosphere is through the roof when it comes to how it depicts the mood of a suburban Halloween celebration. This carries over to the eerie and mysterious soundtrack, the flamboyant costumes people wear, and the legend of the villain Stingy Jack being revealed as a scary story. I just love how much this movie captures the spirit of the season in such a short time frame. The movie becomes a lot more fun when the curse takes effect on the town of Bridge Hollow and Sydney and her dad have to solve the mystery behind it. The movie goes nuts with bringing inanimate objects to life, like plastic spiders, cardboard cats, and a giant Grim Reaper, just to name a few, and it's a blast to see them cause so much chaos in so many unique ways. The special effects that are used to bring these things to life are definitely interesting. It's cool to see practical effects being used as much as possible to breathe life into the props, while also occasionally blending with CGI when it's necessary. There are times when the CGI can be ugly, especially when it involves a bat that flies off with a curse once it's unleashed. The weirdest thing I saw is how it uses a flashy effect on the opening credits while they fade in and out as Sydney investigates her new home, and it was distracting to see these flashy effects appear on screen like this in an otherwise suspenseful scene. As with the story in general, the comedy is also okay. A lot of it consists of cheesy dialogue and Halloween gags like a haunted house style attraction and a big festival, once again in keeping with the spirit of Halloween. I didn't care for Sydney's mom and her vegan baking business as it never really went anywhere, but other than that, the humor was fine. Of course, no Halloween movie is complete without its fair share of scares either, and they're portrayed in fairly predictable fashion here. Doors open by themselves, jump scares are plentiful, and Sydney and her group have to outrun and outwit a variety of monsters. As mentioned before, it it won't win points for being original, but it's fun enough for younger audiences. I wouldn't say that the movie is entirely appropriate for younger audiences though. Even though it feels like it was made for kids based on its style and tone, there's a lot of bad language used by the characters, which feels awkward, especially with how Marlon Wayans drops lines relating to other characters' races multiple times. Those lines were just wrong and felt out of place. The underlying mystery behind the curse was appealing enough to keep me watching to the end. The lore behind Stingy Jack and Lady Hawthorne has enough context to be interesting without taking away from the main story, and it all leads to a big showdown that proved to be an entertaining conclusion. Overall, The Curse of Bridge Hollow is the definition of an average Halloween movie, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you're looking for a standard Halloween comedy for your family to watch that captures the essence of the season, you might enjoy watching this. Pretty much everything about it is cliche and familiar in some way, but for some people that might be exactly what they're looking for. For all of its faults, it does succeed in getting one in the mood for Halloween, which in these times is definitely a blessing as opposed to a curse. What did you think about this movie? Did it get you excited for Halloween, or were you annoyed by its cliche presentation? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of The Curse of Bridge Hollow. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the American romantic comedy, Rosaline. Bye bye!